Despite the backdrop of the COVID pandemic, 2021 was a great year for football and for referees. 4 referees made their Premier League debut. History was made when Rebecca Welch became the first female referee appointed to an EFL match. An all-female team refereed an England's men's match for the first time ever when they faced Andorra. Dr. Felix Brick retired from international refereeing after an amazing Euros. Referees like Alan Kelly, Graham Salisbury and Bjorn Kuipers hung up their whistles. Michael Oliver reached his 300th Premier League game, and even an international superstar took up the whistle. As a company, REFSIX has made big strides in 2021. I just want to list a few of our big achievements. The first was that we acquired a Danish competitor called RefLevel, whose founder Rimon has actually joined our team and is working with us to create the best product that we can get out there for referees. We created our first ever integration with the National Football Association in Denmark, which means that any referee in Denmark can open up the REFSIX app and automatically get all of their fixtures into their app and all of the team sheets when they're ready from the managers. We launched our app on Garmin. Loads and loads of people requested the app be available on Garmin. It took us a while, but we got there and it's available on lots and lots of different Garmin watches. And for those who use our existing app on Apple, Samsung and Android, you would have seen a completely new redesigned watch app. Now you can have multiple matches back to back on your watch, as well as create a match directly on your watch. Some really great improvements to the watch app, and those that were requested specifically by you, our user. So thank you for that. Today we launched our business year in review. You can access that, just go in the comments below, or you can just simply type in 2021.refsix.com and you can see all of the data that we're sharing about refereeing that we've found from our data from you, the referees. And what I'm doing in this video is wanted to share some of the highlights from our year based on all of this data. So I'm just going to take you through it. So here's a map of the location of every match refereed using REFSIX in 2021. You'll see the app is truly global. Referees in all corners of the world are using our app, and you'll see that there are certain countries that are really dense in terms of where referees are using it a lot more than in others. So the UK, obviously, that's our home country. You'll see the US is lit up. Lots and lots of referees in the US, where soccer is the biggest participation sport, are using REFSIX. And then really far afield, like Australia, New Zealand and Japan, big users of REFSIX, as well as lots of different European countries, just pointing out Netherlands, Denmark and Germany, where we have a lot of REFSIX users. So thanks for making us part of your match day. REFSIX is really becoming the standard tool for referees to keep track of their matches. It's happening all over the world. And this year, overall, REFSIX was used in 155 countries in 2021. Absolutely mind-blowing, the amount of referees all over the world using our app. So thanks for the support. In terms of distance run by referees, collectively, they've run around the world just under 20 times. That is absolutely incredible. And they've actually managed to go to the moon and back. So referees loving using our app. Obviously, we keep track of how far they're running, and that's just a pretty amazing achievement to get so much distance covered. We've referees at every level using REFSIX, from brand new referees fresh off a course officiating youth football and Sunday league matches to FIFA referees. In 2021, on average, 20 matches an hour were refereed using REFSIX. So that's just incredible to think about that. At some point in the world, every hour, 20 matches on average are being refereed using the app. It's incredible. And what we found is that on average, 1 caution has been given per game and 1 red card is being shown every 10 games. So obviously our data has a lot of youth football, which probably doesn't get a load of cards. And then a lot of adult football, men's and women's. So on average, 1 yellow card per game, 1 red card every 10 games. Our busiest month is always September. Many seasons around the world are just active during September. You've got the start of the seasons in England, start of the college season in the US, and the culmination of seasons in countries like Australia. So September is always the busiest month. And this year, the 25th of September was our busiest day. We had just under 3,000 matches, so 2,946 matches refereed on that day. Just to give you some context, that's the same as 7.5 Premier League seasons were refereed in just that one day. Not surprisingly, football is a weekend game. Most matches get played on weekends. We've seen from our data that about 66%, 2/3 of our matches occur on weekends. One feature referees love about our app is the ability to record sin bins, or many people would know this as temporary dismissals. Temporary dismissals aren't being used everywhere in the world, but they are being used across different countries. Some are just using it for dissent, so any kind of dissent towards the referee. And some countries, like in Denmark, are actually using it for any yellow card given. So sin bins is one of the big features that referees love about our product. In 2021, 1,055 hours were spent by players off the field having received a temporary dismissal. So that's a lot of time being spent by players off the field for picking up a temporary dismissal. 1 in 4 of those temporary dismissals actually leads to that player's team conceding a goal. So it can be really damaging for players to get a temporary dismissal for their team. And this is actually pretty consistent with the number of sin bins per game that we saw in our data in 2019. So it doesn't look like there's been an increase. It just looks to be fairly similar to 2019. Referees also use our app to keep track of additional time in the game. So they use it as a timer to know how long's been had in the game, how long's been left, how long's got to go left, as well as how much time has been stopped for injuries and things like that. This year we saw on average a referee adds 1 minute and 26 seconds in the first half and 2 minutes and 3 seconds in the second half, which is almost identical to the data we saw in 2019. Here we show some data around where yellow and red cards are shown on the field of play. As you'll see, almost half of the yellow cards and red cards shown are actually in that middle third of the field of play, either side of the halfway line, which is really interesting just to know that piece of information. Consistently, most cards are given in the middle of the field as you're approaching the goal, rather than on the wings. So that could be because there's assistants there, it could be because the benches are there. It could also just mean that if you're going through the middle of the field, you're more likely to score a goal, so it's really important to get that challenge in. Whereas on the wings, I've got some time as a defender, I might not need to make a challenge just here. In terms of countries, we broke down what we wanted to see was the referees who cover the most distance, the referees who give the most reds, yellows, and actually the most goals in games. So we've broken that down in these categories, and we're going to go through them really quickly. So in terms of distance, Argentina are a pretty big outlier when it comes to distance. It seems referees in Argentina cover way more distance than referees in any other country. On average in 2021, they covered 10.4 kilometers per game. After Argentina, there's a big drop down to Norway, which comes in second with 9.34 on average. And then Bulgaria, Japan and Russia follow the referees, consistently covering 9 kilometers in their games. This is where it gets really juicy. In terms of yellow cards and red cards, those are the things that referees like to know about, they like to compare. Well, referees in the Ukraine are the ones that give the most yellow cards in their games. On average, they're giving 3.49, 3.5 yellow cards per game, followed by Saudi Arabia with 3.26 and Brazil with 3.18. Greece and Bulgaria make up that top 5. South American referees are leading the way in dismissals, with both Argentina and Brazil ranking up the highest number of red cards. In Argentina, a referee gives a card almost once every other game, and in Brazil, it's one every 2 and a bit games. Quite a lot of red cards being shown by our South American colleagues. Spain, Greece and the Isle of Man make up that top 5. The UK comes out on top in terms of the most excitement in games. If we think excitement is basically the number of goals scored. In the UK, 5.6 goals are scored on average per game. All of the top 5 goal scoring nations see over 5 games scored on average in their games. Russia, Puerto Rico, Netherlands and Jersey make up the top 5. Last but not least, we can see that home advantage is a pretty big consideration when it comes to match results, with home teams 6% likelier to win a match than the away team. Interestingly though, the number of draws has increased from our data in 2019 by 4.3%. And that's mostly accounted by a fall in the number of the percentage that home teams win. And it could be that maybe throughout the 2021 year, with COVID reducing the number of spectators at lower level games, home advantage may have slightly dwindled. Who knows? We hope you enjoyed this recap of 2021. In 2022, we hope to see more referees using the app across the globe. We've got loads of features currently in development, and we really look forward to getting them in your hands. While you're here, it'll be great if you could like our video, give us a comment, let us know how your year went in 2021 in terms of refereeing. Please subscribe to our channel and please share the video. Thanks for watching.